Welcome to the process, guys. We'll be right back. And welcome to the process, guys. Welcome, 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 welcome. And welcome my special guest today, Jameed Billingsley. Welcome, brother. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. I'm excellent. Okay, guys, y'all could stop clapping now. Okay, cool, 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 cool. All right. That's enough. That's enough. We know he's a good guest. We know he's a good guest. All right, all right, all right, all right. Calm down. So, guys, welcome to Hot Topics. So, we're going to be addressing a couple things within sterile processing that we know you guys are anxious to comment about, are anxious to know, you know, whether it's a okay practice, bad practice, what the background of the practice is, and none other than one of the best persons to help answer those questions is Mr. Billingsley. How you doing, brother? But first, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Sterile Education and Carl Zero. Go get those Carl Zero shoes. Sterile Processing Week is coming up. You want to get them now so that you can get them on time for October, the second week of October. So, Mr. Billingsley, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Kazuro. I'm a scrub by nature, first assistant, and those shoes are great. I have to say. So that's a great partnership you got going. So I second you on that. I'm doing
Excellent.
great, man. I'm doing
All
great.
right, all right,
How
all
about
right.
you?
Man, the normal everyday sterile processing issues, nothing special, nothing different. So, making it work with glue and duct tape, basically. So,
Well, I can tell you, all those applause. If they knew how you guys at the process were just shutting down uh, conference after conference, it's just impressive to see. You guys come, you show up, you show out, you participate, you're making content at the conference, but also you're engaging everybody from the speakers to the board that sponsored it to the attendees. So I love it. I love it.
appreciate it, brother. And then we had a good time out there in Las Vegas. I loved your
How could you
presentation.
not? How could you not have a great time in Las Vegas?
No, you had the hardest time with that presentation after lunch,
Oh yeah,
man.
that doesn't scare me because I come with the energy, and when I go to a conference, I still need my CEUs, so I'm staying the whole time. I'm never flying in, fly out.
Right.
So if somebody is boring coming after lunch, then I might fall asleep too. So yeah, give me the after lunch. Give me the after lunch.
Could
I, I,
could you could you just repeat that? If somebody is what
boring.
after? Oh my goodness! Hold on. Just a piece of advice for anybody holding any kind of webinar or seminar. Please, the person after lunch, they have to have some energy, so to
Yeah,
speak. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So yeah, just make sure, guys, y'all, after lunch, you can't be putting people to sleep because those gases get you drowsy. You
yeah.
don't want that. You don't want that. So have somebody with some energy who's willing to walk around the stage, even get down into the crowd, ask some questions, and give some, good answers. So I know what they're talking about. So what is on hot topic? Going back to hot topics. What is the biggest issue you see right now in terms of processes within cell processing that people have an issue with? Like you get the West Coast and you get the East Coast, and nobody wants to get together and say, hey, this is the right reconciliation for the problem. This is how you fix it. So what's the major issue you see?
Well, my hot topic is going to be spicy hot
Oh
because
boy. Let me
people
get my
don't
notebook
want
out.
to hear this. People don't want to hear this.
Oh
You better
my
get the fire extinguisher for this. Much of the stuff you need in your sterile processing is already there if you can get your people to get productive. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about tray quotas. I'm talking about making sure they're productive. Like you say, you don't have an educator. Well, if you were productive, you could take somebody like Dinar when he was probably a tech before he got to this level. He was probably ready for that next level. So there's a bunch of stuff, whether it's quality assurance techs, whether it's instrument techs, whether it's somebody to take over the ordering for your department so you stop running out of stuff and blaming supply chain because you don't have anybody watching over that. So a lot of that stuff is in there. And man, we run away from productivity because a lot of times the way we got to be a manager, we were just good. We were a nice guy and all this stuff. And you hear all and you see all these debates all around the country, all across LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever it is. Is it quality versus quantity? That's a BS argument. That's a BS argument, Denard. I'm
So
trying to tell you, man.
So you're saying everything, and don't forget, guys. Shout out! Don't forget Alessandra Nicholson. Shout out to the Conjure Institute, Alessandra. Guys, I know
Shout out
you're
to
seeing,
Alessandra.
I know you're seeing Jameed on air, but shout out to Alessandra. She might be on here tonight. She might not, but stay tuned. You never know. All right. So, but in terms of what you're saying, like you have the team. A lot of folks have the team, and I don't want to say old school, new school, that kind of creates a rift. But they're the thinking that you have to have 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 15, whatever the case may be. And I've seen persons walk in the first 6 months and be able to contribute more than those persons who've been there 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. And you have to be realistic, right? When you're hiring people today, they're not they're not coming to your place to retire from there. Those days are over. They're gonna leave. They want to move on to something else, and that's okay. What do you get out of them when they're there, and how do you treat them while they're there, right? So you're mad because they don't want to retire from here. So then now you're not giving them that same love and care, and some of those people that want to retire from there might have should have retired 20 years ago. So you have to be careful about how you treat the people when they walk in the door and acknowledge that that old model of somebody is going to come out of here at 22 and then they're going to work here till they're 62 probably not going to happen.
Hmm. So, saying that, all right, let me segue into another hot, because there's I was on
Bring
Mr.
them.
Mr. Williams show commenting, right? Um, time to talk. So there is a belief in terms of training that you should always start training in Dick and Tam.
That
So
that's
hold on. Don't say nothing yet. Don't say nothing yet. Don't say nothing yet. Don't say nothing yet. So my belief is, okay. Let me just go through my whole belief, so that then you could comment. So
Mhm.
so the way I'm looking at it, you have your gown on, you have your PPE, you're most likely uncomfortable, you're most likely in an environment where it's hot, your mask is probably foggy, you're trying to learn instrumentation, learn to clean, learn the trays, learn a process for the first time, and this is for new techs, for the first time in an uncomfortable environment. And I don't think that's the best way to start off training. That's just my feeling. Your retention you'll basically be thinking, I want to get out of here as soon as possible because I'm so uncomfortable. I never did this before. And if this is what I'm signing up for, I don't want to do it. But for real, seriously. So my belief is that the prep and pack side should be the first place to get persons oriented into exactly what they're going to do, what the instruments look like, what the trays look like, what the processes look like, what the end result is. Take them to the OR just to get a feel for the environment of your facility to ingratiate them and your staff environment. What do you think? What's your take?
Well, I'm 100% on board with that. It's one of those sacred cows. And think about this. Answer this question. How
Mhm.
many times you send somebody, they're brand new, you send them back there for 2 days. What do the people back there say? Oh, yeah, they got it. They got it. Because they're like, if I say they got it, I don't have to go to decon as much. So next thing you know, you got a brand new person never put together a tray, like to your point, and now
Right.
they're back there in decon by themselves because
Mhm.
Johnny said they got it. Because Johnny was like, by they got it, I mean I don't have to go to decon.
Exactly, exactly. Yes, yeah, put the new guy back there for a while. He's learning, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's so really. I like to start even further than prep and pack. I like to start in the center core or case pulling. To your same point, so you can see the interface between what we do and the usage of it, right? So you can see the end product and work your way up. So yeah, it's it and to Angie's point, it's not about can they handle decon. It's not about can they handle decon. It's really more so about is decon showing them the end product, right? And so you would never start somebody who's supposed to be a chef with the without letting them see the end product. So I think that's part of what is convenient for us to for them to go to decon. And that's not taking them out of decon, but I think to your point, Denard, starting off looking at the process, the products and the interface between our customers, because to me that's one of the main hot topics too that I was going to point out to you is
mhm.
that interface with what the customer needs. And so if we don't get that interface, then how do we know that how do we know what we should be doing? And that happens all the time. And it's just one of those, well, we have always done it that way. And I've seen it where you might have 6 new people starting. And then you have decon crowded because nobody wants them to be out of decon before their first 2 weeks is over. And it's like, that's not a great learning environment.
And then I agree with that. I agree with everything you just said. And let me drop a bomb. And from a customer service standpoint, as you said, and from a production standpoint, I really need persons who could put out quality trays and inspect them the correct way. Then I need somebody in Decon. I could find, I know it's not a nice saying, but I could find someone off the street and put them in Decon. But if I don't have someone who can inspect these instruments correctly and put out a good product, because most of my errors, that's the last point of reference from the OR is prep and pack. I want to develop a quality prep and pack technician versus you could make mistakes in Decon. You could make 200 mistakes in Decon. Once I have someone in prep and pack that could catch your mistakes, I feel better. You know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
saying I not putting as much emphasis in decon, but I want to make sure that you understand how to put these trays together, the names of the instruments. You don't have to know every name, but know the names, the ins and outs of the instruments, and what my customers are looking for. Basically, that's what I want.
So I would say for me, I look at it like um, are you doing equivalent training, right? So really, to your point from prep and pack, we don't turn people loose in prep and pack until we're confident that they're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And my problem with starting somebody, they finish their orientation and then you walk them in a decon is we're ready to let them go quickly because
Mm-hmm.
really, so is it really about the training? And I'm not talking necessarily to the best of the best who's watching these shows, but
Yeah,
really
true.
thinking about metacognition about why we're doing it that way. Are we doing it that way because we want to be able to say we got more numbers in decon, or are we doing it in a way that makes sure that there's equal training on all assets? And I can tell you, when you look at orientation, it is they go through decon first, but they go through decon quickly, right? So out of 13
Exactly.
weeks, when we say 13 weeks,
Hold up. They go to decon quickly, and the argument I had is they gotta see every tray in decon before they see it on the prep and pack set. You have facilities with thousands of trays. How are you gonna clean every tray in Dickintam? How are you gonna clean every hand wash tray? How are you gonna clean every neuro set? You can't. You have to know the basics of the instrumentation, how to take them apart. If you don't know what the Alice is, I don't want you in decon. If you, I don't. It doesn't make sense. You gotta learn the basics first before you go, and you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what it is. You're just holding a thingamajig and trying to make it look shiny. That's all that's all you're doing.
well, here's another thing that you see in orientation is no study time. So in other words, you got a new person, you didn't have that person yesterday, then you just throw them in with the wolves. And I always like to say the orientation packet should be like a study packet, right? For your facility. So I'll say, come on in, Johnny. The first hour, you're going to sit here and you're going to study what you're going to do, whether it's in decon, whether it's in prep and pack and all that stuff. Then we're going to ask you some questions. And then even if you just give them an hour, at the very least, you can start off, you can know that there's going to be some scientific principles behind what they're doing. But you don't see people doing that. And it's for the same reason that we like to throw them in decon, and by the end of Wednesday, they go, oh, they got it.
Yeah, let me go through a few of our viewers. Thank you guys for watching. Angie said yes, agreed, but often we take the time to train in all areas, and the minute they step into decon, they decide they don't like the job. So, but then a lot of facilities, thanks for the comment, Angie. A lot of facilities don't take the training in decon seriously.
That's the problem. Are they training in decon? Or are you throwing them back there as another body, and then after, if they don't quit by the second day, they got it.
Yeah,
they got it.
exactly. You gotta treat it the same way you treat the prep and pack side. You can't just throw them in. Oh, this is that your water too hot, or these trays are dirty. People don't treat decon and teach people the technical aspects when they're in there. It's always how fast are you? How many did you do? Oh, you're not done that cart yet. Oh, you're not done this yet. Oh, it's backed up. What are you doing? That's basically how we gauge decon based on speed. We don't really do speed, and if something has visible bioburden on it, and then we say, oh, they're good. They're good. They knocked out 5 carts. Oh yeah,
yeah.
let's go.
And it might not be the complex trays, and you've already said they're good, but they haven't done any of the complex trays that's kicking our butt on the prep and pack side. So it's really not so much about because I see the advocates are like, no, we got to throw them in decon, and my response is, I'm not saying don't put them in decon. I'm saying with a day or two in the clean side, so they can see what they're doing, help them. And I like what Rebecca is saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta give them the time to feel like you have these heavy gloves on. I mean, those facilities that provide good gloves in Dickintam, please do for your technician safety. So you have heavy gloves on. You can't see properly. You probably can't hear properly because you have the fans on. You have the sinks running. You have
Fans
the
in
car wash.
decon, there's no fans in decon.
I mean the air
Exactly.
vent fan, right?
Yeah, well, actually, there are some fans in decon.
Yeah, not that kind of fan, but you know.
Well,
but there are some fun. Yeah, you're right about that too.
You got some sneaky places that got some fans in decon.
So yeah, you have all that going on. You're uncomfortable. You're hot. You know, you're trying to figure out how to wear this thing for the first time and keep it on for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours in water. Like that's not conducive of a good learning environment. I know a lot of people think it's you have to get the stress out and learn it the hard way like we did in 1989. But guys, Come on.
Yeah, I mean, do they know why they're putting on the PPE? Are they donning the PPE in the right order of donning the PPE? There is scientific way recommended by the CDC to don PPE. And every time I go to a facility to do an audit, I typically hit 10 or 15% of the people are donning it right. Well, that shows there's not training. So we're like, yeah, throw them back in decon, but we don't even start off with teaching them what the science behind PPE, the science behind the water temperatures and enzymatics, the science behind pre-rinsing before you just dump it into the water or drop it into the water. And so part of the challenge in training is not that decon is hot and sweaty, because it is, and there's nothing we can do about that, right? There's not, but what we can do is make sure they understand the whys behind, here's why you have on PPE to protect you from the patient, to protect the next patient from you. So there's all these things that we don't train on in decon. We just throw them back there. And then guess what? The new trainee is doing one of my other hot topics, which is, why do we have all these cycles on the washers in decon? And why do we just send everything through instrument? You go to a place, they're having bioburden problems, they're running everything in instrument. There's an orthopedic load, there's an extended heavy instrument load, but we're not using it. But so is that the person who's new to decon's fault, or is that our training fault? Or so those are the questions that I ask, not just on decon, but orientation period.
So they send everything through instrument cycle until there's a turnover, then they put it in the short cycle. Why put in the short cycle? Because we did it right now. Why don't you just run the short cycle all day? What's the problem? So the thing you need the most right now, that's most urgent, you're gonna put in a shorter cycle than the stuff what's the I don't. Anyway, I digress. So let's go into Miss Rebecca here. 100%. They need the deep understanding of standard precautions. This isn't doing the dishes. Right? Exactly. And no knock on the person doing the dishes, but I have done a little research on dishwashing, right? And it's not as complicated as decon. So, guys, if you want to make the comparison between Dick and Tam and dishwashing, go ahead, because it's not as complicated. All right.
And even dishwashing at a healthcare facility is not without training, right?
True.
Because still, it's funny, if you don't understand the 3-sink model, it's directly from the dishwashing industry, because they do it actually more right than we do it a lot of times when you go into a place that has 1 or 2 sinks. So don't knock dishwashing. It's not the dishwashing. It's not the hot. It's it's really this. Think about this. If you have a new person on sterilizer, you would never, after 2 days, be like, yeah, they got it. They're doing the sterilizer by themselves.
Nope.
You would never let them do a tray by themselves on Wednesday. It's real. How many times does somebody go in decon and do you think they feel like they've been properly trained and oriented when on Wednesday they're like, hey, you got it. So I'm going to lunch. Whatever. So it's really speaks to the importance of training overall. And are there some benchmarks that they have to hit before they come out of that training, whether it's decon or pulling cases or whatever? So
yeah. And is there any shadowing in decon? I rarely see any shadowing in decon. It's like gown up, you're out of sync, boom, let's go. There's no like, okay, you're gonna observe what we do before we do it, and then it's like,
oh yeah, no learning. So there's no pre-learning, there's no studying, there's no looking at the orientation sheet. There's or they got to jump in and do it.
Do it, yeah. You get a sink right next to mine. We'll knock this out. If you have a question, I'm right here. If you prick yourself, don't worry about it. Just brush it off. That happens all the time. Yeah. So, like, guys, just be very careful. So, you want to move on from this? Because I see we're getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah, I want to hear the other things. Anything that they want to talk about, we can make it into a hot topic, because I see a lot, right?
So, So
I love
I've worked. So here's Angie here. So oh yes, why can't they get the three thing system even? Oh my goodness, Angie, you know why? So I worked in a facility where there were two sinks. They were like about 6 inches deep,
yikes.
and they're about maybe a foot in width. So you couldn't really put a tray in there.
Oh
You
yeah.
couldn't really wash any type of long lumens in there. If you do a synthesis tray, you kind of had to slide it to the other sink because it wasn't long enough to go in the first sink. So like there are departments that really don't, and that was a few years ago. But there are departments I know across the country that really do not have the capacity to wash a tray or to soak a tray.
Oh yeah.
So
No. And so at that point, you're outside. You're operating outside the IFUs, right?
exactly. But that facility had the lowest infection rate I have of any facility I've been at.
Hmm. So that's I'm an OR guy, so we can
Hmm.
talk about how infection rates are calculated or not
Hmm.
calculated. So
Okay.
your infection rate, let me say it in the best way. It can be more subjective than objective because
True.
the national standards for reporting SSIs is not always the same. I'll say that. So, and Angie, you're right. You're right. There's a bunch of stuff that's in AAMI ST79 that you could just, like you said, laminate it, print it out, whatever. But we don't do it because there's a term that we've been seeing for Joint Commission and DMV findings, and it's lack of oversight. I want you to think about that term. And these places have managers, they have a director, they report up, but there's a lack of oversight. And what that really means is you can have somebody in a position, you can have the this, you can have the that, but who's checking the checkers, right? Who's quality assurance auditing everything that's being done in that department? And so if you don't, you have situations where you don't have a three sync system, you don't even have three sinks available. You don't have an alternative because you can work around it with two good sinks. But to your point, if you have sinks that you can't even fit a tray in, how quality can that cleaning be?
Interesting. Very interesting. So is it possible though,
Is it possible to clean it right without the right stuff, or is it possible?
without the right equipment?
I'm going to say no.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to say no because one of the things is that we don't that we underestimate is the human factor, right? And the more human stuff you do, the more liable that you are to make mistakes. And then the more mechanical stuff you do, the more room for error you have, right? So when you have a sterilizer, it has an overkill to a kill rate to 10 to the negative 12, even though the biological is 10 to the negative 6. The washer does not have that same room for error. You can manually clean it to 10 to the negative 4, but it can come out of the washer 10 to the negative 4 if you don't properly load the washer, if you don't pick the right cycle. So I'll say when you don't put the certain equipment in place, and when you start talking about sinks, you can work around sinks at a below capital rate if it's important enough to you. Now, I love the adjustable sinks and all
Mhm.
that stuff, but you don't have to get an adjustable sink to get a sink big enough to put a tray in there.
So there is no chance you're saying that cleaning instruments manually, even before the time there were washers, even before washers were in every department, even those departments are surgery centers currently who do not have doctors' offices, GYN offices that do not have washers. You say they're all doing it wrong.
They're at a higher risk for
Oh,
error.
okay. All right.
They're at a higher risk for error. Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool.
Because
Cool.
they don't have that backup, right? Because if I took a freer and we tested it after you manually clean it in decon, it's going to have a number. If I put it through the washer, it's going to have a different number, a lower number. If we put that freer through the pass-through window, it's going to have the same number as it had when I finished my final rinse. So you have to be careful.
True, and I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. So let's leave decon alone. Let's get out of decon. Prep and pack side, right? Oh, we want to stay in decon. Now, let's get out of decon. We can always come back. Let's get out of decon. But first, before we get out of decon, we have to talk about decontaminating our shoes. And there's only one company I know where the shoes are washable and sterilizable. So Carl Zero, okay, you want to walk away from contamination, right? We know you spend your shift on your feet and need a healthy shoe that can be easily decontaminated. Carl Zero shoes are designed to keep you moving and can keep our machine washable and disinfected with bleach. So a new type of footwear that meets the changing needs of the medical environment using an innovative copolymer rubber compound to create a product that is sterilizable, autoclavable, and anti-static, and extremely comfortable for people standing for long hours. Additionally, Carl Zero Classics can be sterilized using an autoclave at your facility in a sterile processing department and are uniquely commercial dishwasher safe. So, guys, in business since 1983, Carl Zero is here to wash away your worries every step of the way. And their motto is to provide comfortable, easy to clean footwear made to treat your feet, guys. So go out, get your Carl Zeros, and we have a product code, The Process. You get $70.99 off every shoe you purchase. So, guys,
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
All right,
So
got it.
type in. All right. So you type in The Process. Where I on checkout at your coupon code, The Process, right here scrolling down at the bottom of your screen, and you get that discount on your Carl Zero. So, guys, you have any questions, call us, go to the website, call the company, find out, guys. And Sterile Processing Week is coming up, so you want to make sure you order your shoes in advance so that your team could get it. If you want to get it for that special supervisor, manager, director who's going above and beyond, or I don't want to say technicians, but you obviously, if you want to get it for your entire team, come on, there's money in the budget. You just have to ask for it the right way. Come on. There's always money in the budget. Come on, who doesn't have money in the budget? Who doesn't? You buying 20 boxes of wrap a week. Come on. There's money there somewhere, right? So get your shoes. All right, so back on topic. So prep and pack side. So what I just want to address another hot topic, scopes. So we're getting new literature out on scopes. Everyone think they're expert on scopes. What's going on with scopes? What's the issue with scopes? I think we kind of settled on the hang time now. We don't want it wrapped around in a basin now for a long period of time. We want it dried, right? So, like, what's going on?
So I'm gonna be honest about what the problem is with scopes, right? And people are not gonna like it because they're gonna say, I know all about scopes because I'm a scope expert.
Mm-hmm.
But are you doing every scope at your place? And by every scope, that means not just the ones that come down to SPD, the ones in the clinics, the one in the doctor's office across the street, right? And really, it starts off with, I don't know the anatomy of a scope. And I'm going to tell you, I'm making a confession. The first time I was supposed to be in charge of processing scopes, I didn't even know. I didn't know all these parts, right? Like I read up on all this literature and they were like, okay, you got to be in charge of processing scopes. And I'm looking at the scope and I'm like, where do I hook this leak tester up? And so but it's an honest moment because there's no formalized education other than a certification to teach us about the scopes. And that part is a huge part of the knowledge deficit in scopes is I don't know the basic anatomy of the scope, right? I'm not looking at the distal tip because I don't realize the distal tip is where all the action is, right? I don't understand the control body. I'm not fully testing it during leak testing. So again, going back to the automated part and the automated versus human, the cool thing about having automated stuff is it forces you to hook it up the right way, right? Because
True.
I'll tell you, the first place that I ever did scopes, we didn't leak test because we didn't have a leak tester.
Oh wow.
Let me say this again. We didn't leak test because we didn't have a leak tester, not a manual one or automated one. So then you go to the thing. We didn't do proper flushing because we didn't have automated flushing.
So did you do a water leak test?
No, we didn't have we yeah. You could if you want to call that a leak test, sure.
Okay, so if bubbles came out when it was in the water, you're like, oh,
Yeah, you're like,
this
oh,
is,
it must be a leak. It
you're
must be
right.
a leak.
Okay.
Yeah, that
All
was
right, cool.
the only when I finally got to a facility that had an actual leak tester, I was like, okay, so where does this go? Because I know a little bit about it, and that's what I was telling you. But again, learning the parts of the scope and then the automated things kind of shortcut that for you because I always tell you have the old school people like you don't need those automated flushers. So I tell them drop the syringes and let's see how many cc's you can flush in a minute versus how many cc's this automated device can flush. And it's not even close. It's not even, no matter who's the best flusher. So you get more flushing and all that stuff. So to me, a lot of it is the education around the flexible endoscope reprocessing.
So, but you still have certain manufacturers asking to use syringes. Should you ignore that, go automated, or should you follow the IFUs and use the syringe?
I will say that you can follow their IFUs and use the syringe, and then
you can. What? What's it? Hold on. Say it slowly.
So first of all, if you want to talk about a hot topic, IFUs is a hot topic for me.
All right, we'll go into that after. Let's get over this one.
But I mean, but you're getting to a point.
All right, yeah. We kind of we get into that.
So because if you're telling me that if I use an automated flusher versus your syringe in your IFUs, that's exceeding your IFUs, that I did it wrong.
Maybe exceeding is you might break the instrument. That's what a lot of people say. If you go a little higher, then you might be breaking the instrument. Then you have to look at the integrity of the instrument, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know,
you
know the argument after that.
Oh, yeah.
Anything out of the scope of the IFU will cause more issues than solve them.
But, and part of that is getting in that team that considers which scopes you purchase next. You're stuck with the scopes you have now, but scopes don't last that long. So that's the good news, right? Like we got brand new scopes 2 years ago. Yeah, those things you don't even have the same scopes with the repair exchange program. Look at the serial numbers. 2 years later, you don't even have the same scopes. So the scopes change quickly, but then you got to nose your way into that conversation to say, hey, the IFUs on this don't support the equipment we have. So either we need some new equipment, or maybe is there another model, or is there another manufacturer that makes the same product?
But manufacturers don't support competing brands, right?
Oh, of course.
So
of course.
If I make a car and I have a contract with Michelin tires, I'm not going to recommend Continental tires for this vehicle, because if you're going to switch your tires, you're going to keep Michelin on. You're not going to go to Continental because Michelin is the sponsoring tire company. So I don't want to say any names, but y'all know what I mean.
And that's why you have to have a multidisciplinary team that looks at those steps and see and to help you sift through those steps to determine which one are product related and which ones are actually a critical step, right? Because you'll see it, oh, you have to use this brush. Well, use another brush. Does that mean now all your scopes are invalidated because you didn't pay $6 more per brush than the brush that they tell you to use in the IFU? So you just have to be careful that you don't look at IFUs. The IFUs are not a Bible. And sometimes we worship at the temple of IFUs without applying any critical thinking.
Hold up. It's not the Bible, right? It's not the Bible. It kind of is the Bible, I think, but everybody doesn't follow the entire Bible. You know, you got some people using the New Testament, some people like the old, some people take a verse here and there, and it's like it's kind of the Bible to me, but nobody follows the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the IFUs, the IFUs, you make sure you say, yeah, this is an unbreakable step in the IFU. But if the IFU doesn't say anything about clean and verification testing, does that mean that you're like, well, we can't do clean and verification testing because the IFUs didn't tell us to do it?
Nope, didn't say anything about swabbing.
Yeah,
or
but,
ADP.
Right, but you'll notice once they develop a product that goes with that, now they insert that step in there.
Exactly, with the brand name right on there.
Right. So some of the steps are associated with products, like some of the big sterilizer companies told you for years. There is no need to test this washer. If the receipt is good and all that stuff, then all of a sudden, now when they developed a product, now it's like there is a need to test this washer. So you have to,
and you're gonna start testing when we release this product.
Right. Now we have this product, you need to test it all the time, every step.
Oh, hey, Alessandra. Hey,
I had to jump in.
Guys. What's up? What's going on?
Oh my God, I'm in the stands like, Are you going crazy? He said the IFU is not the Bible. Where is your critical thinking?
Yeah.
I can name 3 products off the top of my head, and I don't want to offend any sponsors, so I won't. But that the IFU said one thing, and then the FDA came back and said, and then it was like us clinicians, us subject matter experts, never push back against this.
Not only
you can rinse with tap water and it could be sterile. We're saying that even though the Spalding classifications say this, if you use a sheath over it, you don't have to clean it between uses. And we have to be the best advocate for the patients, because the people that write the IFUs are the people that write the IFUs. And so when I hear people talking about IFUs like there's some you must follow the IFUs, you shouldn't violate the IFUs, but you should take the IFUs and see, okay, this is the intent here, this is here. And so, and I know people want to fight me because they go, we follow the IFUs. And I go, okay, let me watch you. Let me pull out the 138 steps and let me watch your scope.
Yeah.
Every one of those things, because one of the steps says elevate the elevator, and then the other step release the elevator. Then it says twist the scope around. Okay. So if you twist the scope around before you elevate the elevator, did you violate the IFUs, the sanctity of the IFUs? So that's kind of, that's one of my pet peeves when there's no critical thinking. But you have to be careful. I understand why people don't like to say that, because what some facilities and some people at facilities hear is, don't follow IFUs. They said on the process, that's not what we're saying.
No.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you start talking about what's the issues with processing scopes, it's, do some of the IFUs, are they designed to make you buy the product that company sells, or is it a step in processing the scope?
Yeah.
That's another one. You look, you ain't need me. Jamie got it covered tonight.
No. So on another word you said, Jamie, intent. You have to look at the intent of the IFU. They want you to clean it properly. So 3 times here, 3 times there, 3 times there, 3 in there. like the intent is to get it clean, and that's clear. So if you
Right.
do it 2.5 times, does that mean it's not clean? If you
Or
do
if
it
you do it
5
4.
times, does it make it
Right, right. If you do it 4 or 5, oh, you violated the IFU.
Yep, you exceeded it, you're gonna break the instrument.
Right, right, right.
So like I believe that the intent, you have to understand the intent, and the only way you can understand the intent is if you actually perform the process yourself. No pun intended. But if you actually if you actually do it
Clearly.
yourself, observation is good. I like observation, but I have written processes for my team until that day when the cart's coming down and the bells are ringing and stuff is backed up and you have to multitask and do 20 things at a time. You realize, dang,
Oh,
I
yeah.
wonder how they've been doing this for
Yeah.
6 months.
I know, that's when you go, nobody told me
Yeah,
that.
nobody told me this was this difficult. Then
Well-
you got to start adjusting and say, guys, okay, we know what they want us to do. All this is just extra fluff. Guys, I trust y'all. I'm going to train y'all to do the right thing and for the right outcome. That's what we want, basically.
Alexandra talked about one of the things, and both of you guys are saying the same thing, and this is critical.
Critical.
You can do a lot of stuff from your office. You can do a lot of stuff by observing. You can do to cross that finish line, you got to do it. So that means like I go around, I'm doing rounds. I'm like, how's everything? Oh, everything is good. Everything is good. Yeah, okay. I'm like, yeah, everything is good. Then I get out there and I get ready to seal something on the heat sealer, and it's like not working. And I'm like, I thought you said everything was good.
All right.
Oh, yeah, not that heat sealer. It sucks. And if you don't, and you can shadow somebody because they're not going to use the heat sealer that's not working.
Right.
You turn up the one on the Tyvek, turn it down, going to burn some Tyvek, but don't worry about that. But we're going to adjust because that's what humans do. But if you're not out there actively auditing, which is different from observing, actively auditing means, hey, I got the sterilizer, you go to lunch. And you having a
Yes.
sterilizer,
Yes.
Because if I ask to sterilize everything,
He's gonna say okay.
hey, right? But you get out there and do it for an hour. You let the people go to lunch, man. Hey,
Yes.
I got
Let
you.
them watch. They need to watch.
And
It helps you build teams. They then know that you are competent. And it helps you in the office because then when we're sitting down and we're having conversations, you know to level up with me right now. Don't give me no song and dance about what can and can't be done in that area or what your challenges were. Because I've been over there and I actually know.
Right.
Mhm.
And as a leader, you have to schedule that.
Yes.
Because they're never going to stop meeting with you. They're
No.
never going to stop meeting with you. But you have to be able to say, oh, this is blocked off because every Monday I'm gonna do lunch and decontam. Every Wednesday I'm gonna do lunch on the sterilizer. Every Friday I'm gonna do lunch for case pulling. And I'm telling you, as a leader, as an educator, you can see the perspective of the errors that you're making. Not
You're
just that
making.
Mhm.
right? Like, man, I made them do this.
Right. Who put that tandem work together? That was me.
Who put those
Man, I'm
two?
doing this.
Who said stamp it 10
terrible.
times? Oh, dang, that was me.
That was And those are really good areas too to buy back some integrity with your staff because they're already doing the whispering on the floor about what little things don't make any sense, right? So if you can come to them and say, you know what, I know that I put out that standard of work, but I ran through it a couple of times on your lunch break, and baby, what do you think? How should I redo this? And it gives you an opportunity to flow them in a productive way.
Right.
Mhm.
Because you at the end of huddle saying, anybody have any questions? I'm open to suggestions. That's not the same as getting out there in the Gemba.
Yes.
And then you're gonna find some things that you're doing that you asked them to do wrong. You're gonna see some things that they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
That's workarounds for processes that are broken. Hey,
Yes.
what are you guys doing? Oh yeah, I was at a place and I was like, I'm out there working, helping with lunch, and there's got all these towels, right? Which I don't like towels on the clean side because of lint and micro lint, one of my key things. And they're drying off the case carts. And I'm like, why are you doing that? And they're like, well, the case cart, they always come out wet. Did you know you can call them to increase the dry time till they come out not? But you would never know because nobody was complaining about it. But those extra 30 seconds to a minute per case cart when you're doing
Adds up.
cases a day, right? That's 100 minutes.
Come on.
How many trays could we, when you got a productive person who could do 4 or 5 trays an hour, you
Yes.
just cost 8 trays. So even the sorry people like me who could do 2 trays an hour. So you start going across the
Right.
shift and realizing how much effort is being
But I gotta stop you right there because that level of critical thinking and management is rare in my experience. I think we're out here. I think they're leaders right now, but I don't think that they're prevalent on the floor because you will see somebody make a really short decision. Like for instance, I've run up against peri-op directors, and y'all know how I feel about nurses running SPD. But I've run up against them where it's like, hey, my cart washer is coming out wet, or my instrument washer is coming out wet. I think I might need to extend the dry time. All they hear is, I'm not gonna get my trays back fast as I was getting them, and you already giving them to me slow. Oh, nope, we won't be doing that. Here's some towels, right? So you being able to not only say, because you might hear a technician or a manager stop and say, okay, the lint is the issue, and that might not get you everywhere you want to go. But me being able to bring it back to their process and say, I understand that you think you're going to be losing time, but what we're actually doing is gaining because I'm going to be speeding up on this side where they're wiping down trays and I'm paying them for their certification to wipe down wet things rather than using their expertise to put together these kits for you faster, better, higher quality, whatever the case may be. So I feel like a lot of the advocacy that we're missing in our field is just giving technicians and managers that type of vocabulary so that they can fight their own battles. They know what they need, but do they know how to pin it in a way that a surgery team is going to follow them?
Yeah, and that's one of my final kind of hot topics is kissing butt. What?
We don't do that in sterile processing. We don't.
I've heard it called spin.
What? and what
Sales and marketing.
A lot of, well, it's called internal marketing. To your point, right? I've never heard of a group that's dependent on a customer that is always at odds with the customer.
Facts.
That doesn't feel like we got to create win-wins to customers.
Yes.
And to your point, you just talked about how to create win-wins. So you can't present it like, oh, we gotta extend the dry time.
Just gotta extend it.
No, we have to get the trays drier. And they
Yes.
said, well, is that gonna? No, it's not. There's hardly any trays besides turnover trays that come out of the washer and go to somebody's workstation.
Right.
There's plenty enough work out there. If you have one of those departments, let me go to it because I want to work there because that means you have no. And we're not talking about Monday morning, right? Like,
all right, no, we're talking about Wednesday, Thursday afternoon.
On Wednesday afternoon,
what's your backlog look like?
Is a tray coming out of the washer and going on a workstation. Come on.
So why is the customer even involved in a conversation like this when it's to benefit them? Like, do you tell McDonald's how to, make their fries when you're buying it? You know what I mean? They decide the cook time and the vendor from which they buy the fries and the oil they fry the fries in, and then you get your McDonald's fries.
You mean they retain creative control over their area?
Yes, that's
a novel
exactly. Maybe let me hold on for a second.
That's a novel idea.
So yeah, why are they even involved? You trying to produce better quality? Do you go to a restaurant and tell the chef how he's gonna cook the meal du jour? You know what I mean?
Some of y'all do.
Some people do. Then you regret and you want your money back. But still, I think, and I've never been in that situation. That's why I kind of always question that. Like, why are they involved in? You should be reporting that out that you did it, not asking permission to do it.
Permission, yeah. I would say that. And to your point, looking at it as the customer from the customer service perspective, there are certain things that you shouldn't ask them, but you should be telling them. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I mean, you shouldn't ask permission for that. But then there's other things that when you're bringing value, you do need to inform them so you can tell your story.
Yes. Don't it sometimes, especially when we in service work, we pride ourselves on just hitting the goal, meeting the objective and then walking away. We're not looking for the back, the claps, the pat on the back, and you miss an opportunity because when we're talking about this internal sales, internal networking, you being able to demonstrate your competence and how you're helping that team thrive without them having to stress is only benefit to you because it helps you build your clout. So the more and more things that I have to come and I have to ask for, or that the one time that I'm asking for something that everybody's like, I don't know, I've built up that trust. I built up that trust from giving them that value.
We missed those opportunities. Alexandra, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I can't tell you how frequently we miss those opportunities. Shout out to my man, Sean. But here's one simple thing that I do when I'm going in and I'm consulting and I'm saying, hey, when the biological from a turnover tray is done, call the room that needs that tray.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? Why would we? It's not ready yet. It's not ready. And I love what Rebecca is saying. And I can tell you, let me help you out from the OR side.
Mm-hmm.
What I used on the first case, I need it for my third case or my fourth case. I'm an advocate for SPD. I hope they can get it right. I hope they can get it right. But I don't know until that case card wheels in the room, right? Yep. And imagine the anxiety that goes with that. Yes. But if I'm still in my second case, somebody calls me from SPD to tell me, hey, that retractor tray that you need is ready, it's cooling, it's not to room temperature. Let us know when you get it, but it's done, it's turned over. Yeah. You know how that will make me feel? I'm like, maybe I can concentrate on the patient care that they're paying me to concentrate on. Well,
imagine that.
And so to your point, Alexandra, we miss those little opportunities
to build rapport.
To build rapport, to say this is the, I used to tell my team, call the OR front desk when all the cases are pulled. Why would we call the front desk when all the cases are pulled? I mean, they're pulled. They're in there. They should see that. Mm-hmm. All the front desk when, guess what? The cases were being pulled at the same rate that they always were. And now all of a sudden they were like, hey, man, you guys are doing a great job pulling those cases. You get them done so early that if we have to switch them around or whatever, you're missing those opportunities. You're missing those opportunities internally to your own staff and to your, somebody does a great job. Somebody catches something. Announce it at huddle. Like, that internal PR, and to Rebecca's perspective, point of view, it's like, if you think that as a leader that PR is not part of your job, if you don't think as a leader that the reason that those people are leaving your hospital for 35 cents across the street is because you don't make them feel like they're part of the success. So how much time do you spend celebrating? How much time do you spend communicating? How much time do you spend get with the operating room? Like, this simple task every day before first to second shift huddle, you should be able to know which trays are in-house and which trays are not in-house. Mm-hmm. You can tell the service line coordinator up there, whatever happens tomorrow, you already stuck a line in the sand.
Yes.
But no, we don't want to do, hey, that's not my job. That's somebody else's job. We don't have an implant coordinator at this place. Listen. These are the little opportunities that we miss to become a part of the team, because then you call them and then they call the rep, and then the rep is like, I never even heard of it from the doctor. Sometimes, we blame the reps like the reps are the bad guys. They're not, right? And so what are we doing to catch those mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And so, but what I'll tell you, that's like people with bad kids. Is it the kids?
Yep.
Yes.
Woo!
Oh,
That's another episode. You coming back for that episode?
We're out of control here.
What's going on with these baby reps? It's their parents. It's not the reps.
Right, they keep trying you. They keep trying. They keep trying. Every time you put them back in place, they keep trying again. Trying to come at 12 p.m.
Yeah, but
come at 7 a.m. Talking about this 4:11 a.m. case. Come on.
Yeah, but then what's the root cause analysis?
What's the root cause? Because I promise you, yeah.
Right? Do you have a reporting system that says, hey, listen, because I'll say to a doctor, hey, listen, Dr. Nicholson, I don't know if you're not important enough to the striker rep because they keep telling us that the tray is in use over at Eastside Hospital, right? And we're over here at Westside Hospital, and we always have to wait for them to finish using it. So every time, here's our report of your last 10 cases, 8 times it's got here.
Hit them with that data.
And so we tried to get them to order another tray into the territory, but I guess they keep telling us that it's not important. That changes the conversation when you have data, not just, oh, they always get it here late.
And I agree, brother. I agree. Alessandra. So, sir, where can people find you when they need to get you to ask you questions about those IFUs, which you had them putting in so many comments about? How can they find you? Alessandra, come back. Where you at? So where can they find you? And you have okay, good.
I
So
was going to say, Alexandra changed her thirst trap, avatar.
Yeah. So where can they find you, brother? Where can they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me in multiple groups on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. Jameed Billingsley. Luckily, there's not another one. There's not another one. So if you search Jameed, you'll find me. And you can ask me any questions. And I've had a couple of questions. I had some chances to mentor people. I've been actually at client sites. But if you're if you want to have a mentor, bring it to me. I can be a mentor. My only requirement is you have to have somebody that you're mentoring at the same time. So I'm available. Advantage Support Services, you can contact me. You can contact me on LinkedIn. You can contact me on Facebook. You can slide in my inbox. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Go
slide in the DMs.
Slide in those DMs.
Yes,
hey, I was having a problem with this. Somebody said, hey, we're trying to change from this cleaner to that cleaner. And I was like, okay, so you tell me why this cleaner is better than that cleaner. And they got quiet. And I was like, I know you prefer this cleaner, but this is not a Tide and a Family Dollar store detergent situation, right? Like, like detergent. And so if you can't tell me why, then it's just your personal preference, and you can't get stuck on those. But yeah, that's just an example of the conversations. And I know I'm a consultant, but I don't charge for advice.
All right. So guys, check him out, guys. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's a great speaker as well. I've seen him live, and he does what he says he's gonna do. So, Alessandra, yes, shout out the Condrey Institute, please.
Yes, absolutely. Come find me on Facebook, the Condrey Institute. We offer coaching, mentoring, consultation. My brain is yours on loan if you need me. Like Jameed said, inbox is always open except for that nonsense. Now I know the pictures. He said thirst trap. I know the pictures is nice.
You gotta
keep it professional, okay?
You got that avatar turned to the side. They gonna be
come on. Rebecca and I are gonna be talking about body consciousness and professional attire at work on Monday on Behind the Red Line. So check us out. That'll be a nice conversation.
Mondays Behind the Red Line, and check me out. I will be interviewing Dominic Williams from iSpy on Sunday evening on Voices, guys. Tune in for that. So, guys,
Dom's amazing.
Yeah, Dom's amazing. It'll be a great interview, guys. Make sure you check it out. Young man doing big things in education, cell processing. Shout out to Sterile Education. Check out the app, the Sterile Education app. on your Apple iTunes store or your Android or your Play Store through Android or Google.
Right,
Download
wherever you
that.
find your apps.
Where exactly. And one more thing, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell with your pinky finger because your thumb may be too big. You want to get it just right. So hit that notification bell so you could get notified when we have any new shows coming out or new content, guys. So thank you so much. Any last words, guys?
Last word, don't forget SPD week 10/9 through the 15th. We will have the sterile processing week marathon. Will be live for 12 straight hours with you guys again
We're
because
doing it
y'all was
again.
crazy and y'all stayed on with us.
Yep, we're doing it again.
So we can't wait to see you.
If it's nice, you do it twice.
I can't wait to see you guys again. So we got to hook up. Right?
You'll be back, brother.
got
You'll
to.
be back. Trust me, you'll be
I'm
back.
talking about
Got
live
to
in
well
person.
before
Oh, live in
Nashville.
person. Come on. Oh, you going? Oh, damn. We got so many dates. We gotta. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll do something in
We
person.
did it.
All right.
We'll do something, but we'll do some, definitely. In this day and age,
Awesome.
peace, guys. Oh,
Peace.
thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. We're
Thank
out.
you for welcoming me on.
All right, guys. We see you on the. Oh, hey. All right. You dropping some more comments?
Nope, I'm good.
That's it.
We
All right.
out.
All right, we out, guys. Peace.